Welcome to Cyber Security News. So today, 15th of November 2023. So initially I found this very interesting report from Bugcrowd. I think most of you are well aware about what is Bugcrowd. So this is one of the best bug bounty platforms, and they are doing a lot more these days. So if you go to their homepage, there's a very interesting I think this is a bit old, but still very interesting documentation which you can read through. So I have downloaded this, and you can freely download this. So this is called as Inside the Mind of a Hacker, ITMOAH, and this is volume 7. So they're talking about very interesting set of things. Let's discuss quickly. Now, initially, so as you can see, they are talking about basically interesting points about hackers in general. So they say, I'll only go to more relevant and more interesting numbers. 96% of hackers agree that they help companies to fill their cybersecurity gaps. Okay, interesting. 93% of hackers are fluent in at least 2 languages. Now remember, these are not we say programming languages. These are everyday languages. So obviously there can be opportunity by knowing more languages, English to Spanish to French. And 75% of the hackers identify non-financial factors as their main motivation to hack. So obviously people can agree or disagree. So recent past we have seen the COVID time, lot of criminals or hackers, truly were criminals, attacking medical healthcare and related disciplines. So obviously the target probably would have been money, but 75% of hackers identify. Now the new data is available for Bugcrowd to say that there are some of them are more non-financial factors, maybe different social related activities, or some interest of everybody's at heart. Anyway, so these are some of those interesting numbers. Right, let's go to more relevant things for all of us. So this is what we talked about earlier as well. Number of languages spoken by hackers. So 93% of hackers are fluent in at least 2 languages, which is interesting. And of course, language translation these days can be quite easier. Hackers from non-English speaking countries are stating to use ChatGPT and other generative AI. So there's a lot these days, and of course ChatGPT and other related products are getting improved every day or daily basis. They are improving, so which is good for all the hackers, right? And obviously there are ways and means of asking ChatGPT. Even the direct answer would be no, we can't do it, but you can ask them to write say quite a load of hacking code, right? So average age of a hacker, so it's again interesting. 5% of the hackers reported so this is from this particular research center, less than 18, but bulk is of course from, I would say, 18 to 24, where people who are learning about cybersecurity probably, and early in their life they want to earn money probably, so there can be reasons now. And of course more matured people are less and less. Probably this might change in the years to come, right? And these are top 10 countries. Interesting. India number 1, Bangladesh. So most the first top or top 4, like 90% of the or 75% of the top 4 is from Asia. That's something interesting to see. Even 5th position is also Nepal, which is these are all basically South Asian countries, right? Okay, so then of course we have Brazil from South America, Turkey, I think more of Europe, Egypt, and then Indonesia, and of course US is also there. And I believe most of those hackers, the data would say about bounty hackers, because this report is more interested into the bounty hackers or bug bounty hunters, right? So then again about education, most of them seems to be having at least graduation or actually high school graduation, and yeah, then thereafter I think for more critical things better to have a graduate or a degree at hand, So yes, it says 68% of hackers are college graduates, but it doesn't mean that you can't hack without a college degree. No, you can. So that's probably what the data says in a way as well. But to become a probably more confident or more advanced hacker, it's good to have something related to a college graduation or something related. Okay, so yes, so basically, so this is sort of the way how you put it down: burglar, attacker. So locksmith is like the defensive guy, right? How well do you know hackers? So I think that is not very interesting, so I'll just skip on that. Day in the life of a hacker. So this is very useful. I think see employment status. Most of them say I'm trying to hack full time. So once they get into the look and feel of it, I think they are more interested in staying and doing the same for full time. But of course, some of them are starting as a side hustle or part time. So, but there are 29% of hackers which works full time. So once they get the hang of it, I think they really wanted to stay there because it's a lot of money. Obviously, I don't want to explain the money involved in bug bounty. You can go to Bugcrowd, HackerOne, Integrity, and there are so many other programs. Right. So fields unrelated to security research in which hackers hold occupations. So this is very interesting because not all people are in IT would end up being bug bounty hunters. There can be people who sees these mistakes, like maybe you are in justice or legal discipline, you are in healthcare. So they are all, turn out to understand the value of doing bug bounty. And also this is like defensive security in a way, right? So these are all valuable things. All right. So 77% of the hackers report working in IT or cybersecurity. Okay. So let's move on. Hours per week devoted to hacking. So yes, that's a lot, no? So as you can see, where hackers choose to spend their time. So this is, I think, going towards bug bounty marketing. But anyway, a lot of people are adding more time into bug bounty. I think obviously you should have consistent time put in. So that's the lessons learned here. And the cool thing, obviously, how hackers learn skills. So most of them learn by staying online. So it can be YouTube channel, or it can be some of the courses, or like just trying things out in bug bounty or Bugcrowd or wherever, right? So it's very interesting. And of course there are a lot of hacker communities. So even Bugcrowd, I think they have a good community. There are Discord channels, so you can look at those things. So this is not very new news, but still yes, so there's some statistics can be useful for you to take your decisions how to proceed of what you are doing. Yeah, so okay, we can skip that as well, right? So the anatomy of a hacker. So this is quite interesting. Let's go from the top. Identify non-financial factors as their main motivation. So that statistic was there earlier. 93% of hackers are fluent in at least 2 languages. So that's also we have looked at. Yeah, so I think this is basically the anatomy of a hacker, no? So it's quite interesting. If you have any gaps, or if you have not checked some one of those items, so if you don't know one language other than what you are speaking, better to go through that or find another language, and probably English would be one, obviously, and think about another language which spoke by a lot of people, like India, Tamil, or maybe Hindi, or maybe Chinese or Spanish, or I don't know, French, can be very useful for a hacker. And of course being in a community is very useful. Agree that they help companies to fill their cybersecurity skill gap. So yeah, so helping others would definitely be useful. And yeah, very interesting. So now everybody's talking about AI, so cybersecurity people also should be very carefully looked at the value of AI, or where you can bring value to your everyday process, whether you're a pen tester, bug bounty hunter, or a sort of a defensive cybersecurity person, or even a GRC analyst or data analyst. You should understand the value of AI. So how hackers using generative AI, what do hackers really think about it? I think everybody is sufficiently valuing I'm not good for data, But let's move on. So there's a revolution, obviously that's true. Yeah, now let's look at the real data. So technology wise, a lot of people are using ChatGPT, you can't blame them. Even there's a free and a paid version, and Google Bard is at the moment, I think it's free, and Bing. And top use cases, so these are things, if you are not doing or not using AI for one of those tasks, better to use AI. Automating tasks, you can obviously automate some of the tasks, but you have to know how to put your context. So otherwise they would say we are not helping you to do hacking or anything. Analyzing data, you can get, say, you can ask a question like most of the websites which uses PHP, you can ask a question, how is the structure of that website. So likewise you can get a lot of architectural details rather than going through loads of papers, written documents and everything. So it's so quick, your time is cut down in from days to weeks to obviously hours or minutes. And identify vulnerabilities, it will be a great help. You can quickly summarize what are the top 10 things we can look into a PHP or a Node.js backend. So they will list it down. So you can create on the fly what you call as checklist. And validating findings, if you found something, you can just double check whether you can ask your ChatGPT to become an evaluator of a bounty from the vendor side and ask them to critique on what you found out. So they will give some generic comments or maybe specific. Conducting reconnaissance, yeah, so there are so many ways of doing that. Yeah, so you know, you can use something like OSINT. I think most of you know about OSINT. OSINT, right? So if you go to OSINT, should be here. Yeah, so that is something that obviously this framework you can use obviously with generative AI, which will be really valued. And conducting reconnaissance, categorizing threats, detecting anomalies, yeah, lot of them. Yeah, so generative AI technology types used by hackers: images, code, search, video. Yeah, that's a lot. Right, we'll quickly go through some of the others. Right, do generative AI technologies outperform the abilities of hackers? Yeah, say like, yeah, I think yes and no, but I plan to do in, but I plan to in the future. I think they should be connected. So yes, 50-50 almost. I think yeah, one day it's obvious that they can outperform. There's no question. But yes, but important thing is innovation doesn't come with AI most of the time. So you can be very creative, innovative. It will be very hard for AI to outperform it, but still some of the tasks that we do every day can be obviously outperformed by AI, generative AI, and other specific nature of AI. Will generative AI technologies eventually replicate the human creativity of creativity? Probably no, right? Yeah, that's even what the data says. So I'm not saying anything here, but I just explain what the data says. But here, a word from the US Department of Defense, the value of harnessing AI in cybersecurity applications is increasingly clear. I'm reading this box here. Almost many capabilities. AI technologies can provide automated interpretation of signals generated during attacks, effective threat incident prioritization, and adaptive response. Likewise, it goes on and on. So they are sure about it. So US Department of Defense is technology-wise, they are far ahead from most of the countries, I believe, of whatever the entities that they run cybersecurity show. Yeah, so they are right on this particular matter. Right. Okay, so then there's a very interesting question and some data. Why hack? Why money matters, you know? Yeah, so you can see livelihood challenges. So some of the socio-economic factors also comes in, right? So financial gain is also part of it. But again, like at the universities, we ask students to do legal hacking, not illegal hacking, legal hacking, like social hacking, like in bug bounties. So that is for personal development, right? So they can be really equipped with knowledge, like doing internship, better than doing internship at times. Right, most important issues when hacking on bug crowd, so that is not very relevant for us. Perceptions of earning from hacking, yeah, so I think it's increasingly getting popular, increasingly getting difficult as well. A lot of people are in the game, but of course there's always new avenues. Now there was smart contract hacking. If you're not aware, you can go to Code Fairy and have a look at it. And of course now you have AI hacking, right? So you can hack ChatGPT or you can hack LLM models. So there's a lot of opportunity there as well. Right. Unsolved cyber mysteries. Right. Okay. Let's quickly skip some of them. You can do a detailed reading on this. I 100% recommend for all of you to read this. Yeah, so red flags, security breach potential. 84% of hackers believe that less than half of all companies understand the true risk. Truly, they are not. I'm going to have a very interesting article from Microsoft. I will read it through, and that's a very valid news item as well. Uh, Red flag 2, increase vulnerability and complexity. Obviously, new software coming in, new software models comes in, new software architectures coming in, frameworks coming in. So that's truly I would say disastrous in a way, right? And point in the time testing. 88% of hackers believe that point in time security testing isn't enough. Yeah. So you need to have pre, post, and all three dimensions of time you need to have it. Lack of a VDP. Over half of all hackers have not disclosed the vulnerability because of a company locked a clear path. Yeah, lacked a clear path. So that happens. Right. Yeah, so you see a lot of challenges. That's the whole idea behind that. Right, I think that will be enough from this document as extract. So read through that. Right, so let's close this down and let's go into the more of a technical thing. So I found this article in InfoSec write-ups connected to Medium. How I hacked 1,000+ Tesla cars using OSINT. So there's a guy called Harish. He's working for Cisco, I believe. I'm sharing this article for security awareness and educational purposes. It should be very clear. And none of these are related to my work at Cisco, right? Okay. Then what is TeslaMate? So TeslaMate is an open source self-hosted. This is self-hosted. That is very important. I don't know whether I can color this up. No, I can't. It's all right. Data logger for your Tesla vehicle. It is designed for Tesla owners who want detailed insight into their driving habits, changing behavior. So that's basically what they do. Highlight. Okay. No, I can't. Right, that's all right. So here are some features of aspects of TeslaMate. Detailed dashboards. There are detailed dashboards. Charging stats. It provides insight into your charging habits. Oh, that's interesting. How much you spend. So this can be very valuable for a lot of vendors. Drive tracking, you can get there. That is obviously very dangerous. Each drive including the path taken. So anybody can even blackmail, hijack, whatever. Geofencing, yeah. Privacy, since TeslaMate is a self-hosted, all your data remains with you. This is a self-hosted one, not that this is on somebody else's server like Tesla server. Updates and community, like integration with home automation system. Some advanced users, probably you can connect with the garage, I don't know, a lot of other things, no? Right. So very simply what happens here is when you buy a Tesla car, you can host this open source server where you can track all your data, which can be good, right? So you can get more details of this in this documentation. Let's open it up. Yeah, so you can have a Docker installation and then probably you can run your server and you can get connected to it and all these funny things, right? Home assistant, MQTT. So this is like you can integrate what things, park brake, yeah, a lot of other things are there. So I will not go into the details, but let's see what this person is trying to do. Okay, so what he did first is they go to Census. So I think this can be done some of the other open source information gathering tools as well. So let's go to Census host search. So I also have gone there and searched TeslaMate. So what you see here is obviously there are 3,700 self-hosted Docker instances, probably, or VM instances of this software. So most of them probably are not trial runs. Probably owner probably is tracking their information. Probably these are all authenticated, but might not. Who knows? So ideally, we should not have a look into one of those because it's probably illegal. So you should do that. But obviously, you see some of them are openly available, right? And you can, there are ways of logging into FTP. So even it doesn't work or not, but this information is available here. So some of them are 200. So they have checked it. So it should be working. Software is Ubuntu and something called Pimco and Apache. So Apache service running in the background, right? So interesting. So then what it says is I started to read documentation, and while read the documentation, I found that TeslaMate can install and integrate with Tesla cars without authentication. Okay, so people can be knowingly or unknowingly be using this with Tesla cars without authentication. So the keyword that he's trying to use is Tesla Mate and dashboard and not sign in. So again, he found 2700. So I'm not going to do that here right away, right? So, and he says, out of curiosity, I opened one result and I found this below response cached by Census. It's not real time. So of course you can see, like I showed you earlier, status is there, it's online, range, also all these things given out. This is all real-time statistics from a vehicle, outside temperature, mileage and everything. And he says, I did not open dashboard like we did, since it might be illegal, even though it got exposed. My goodness. And attacker can do following. If somebody's want to attack this, yeah, track live location, check if a driver present. Yeah, so this is all physical security issues. Check if the car is locked. Yeah, so you can see, and there is right the web interface where you can see even where the car is, and you can code things out. So I'm not going to explain this Python codes. Should be Python, no? Probably not. Anyway, so you can do all these crazy things. So this is just a very interesting article which was published few weeks back, right? So if you want, you can just try things out, but to the level where it's not illegal. And you can see the scan reports and see how and what sort of ports that they are allowing us to getting connected to. And if you want to read a little bit more on Tesla Home, I think you should be able to go to Tesla Mate, .org, and you can find out details about what is the software, what it is being used for, and all the funny things, right? Yeah, interesting, right? So this is open hardware, I believe. That's what they're talking about. So this is something that you can do very interesting things. So add it to your repository of tools, right? Okay, let's go to some interesting announcement from Microsoft. This was again a few weeks back, announcing Microsoft Secure Future Initiative for Advanced Security Engineering. So Microsoft is probably having a lot of issues over the years, so that's why they have a Patch Tuesday, and there was so much of critique and issues and good things about Microsoft security. But anyhow, today's Microsoft Vice Chair, President Brad Smith, shared insight on the global cybersecurity landscape and introduced a Secure Future Initiative. This is some process started at Microsoft. These engineering advances anticipate future cyber threats, such as increasing digital attacks on identity systems. So that is happening right now. And also address how we will continue to build secure foundations. In this spirit, to emphasize the importance of this moment, we are sharing the internal email that they have sent. So I'm not going to read everything, but like people who are interested in security, Microsoft is, whether you like it or not, it's a big part of the industry and wherever we do cybersecurity. So whatever the initiative that they're taking to do or to take or to practice can be very useful to know, right? So as you can see, they are looking at defense in depth, protecting against ever evolving threats, and then there's this very new initiative. They say new world of security, like a new world order, right? So you can see the common things anyway, monitoring or a SOC sort of environment, response center, offensive research and security engineering. So this can be a lot of value addition for new or cybersecurity enthusiasts or people who are doing things in the industry. Obviously, bug bounty programs, they were running it for a long time, with good success, and all these things are also there in this even this new initiative, right? And digital defense reporting, and of course they work really hard with keys these days, multi-factor authentication, hardware-based authentications, and of course specifically with development related things like memory safe languages, things like Rust. I'm not really sure about what they're really supposed to do. Ooh, that's error. It's a request time. Not sure what is it. Anyway, and then of course CodeQL. I think most of you are aware about CodeQL from GitHub. Obviously now it's a Microsoft product. So yeah, that's a lot of good learning here in CodeQL, which is there intended trying to make the code more secure by auditing, having live audit features, and continuous auditing and monitoring. And then of course they have, I think, looked into different variations of secure development lifecycle. There's a lot of theory here, a lot of practical ways of doing things here. I think they're working towards a more secure one, because AI, quantum computing and blockchain and everything is already in their bandwagon, right? So on-premises patching, a lot of interesting words, right? And anyway, I'm not going to read through all that, so it's very interesting. The links will be there in my notes, so go through that. You can see, I'll go to some of the interesting things only. Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO, Rajesh Shah, Microsoft Executive Vice President, and a few other guys put significant thought into how we should anticipate and adapt increasingly more sophisticated type threats. We have carefully considered what we see across Microsoft and what we have heard from customers and onwards. And then they say, first we will transform the way we develop software with automation and AI. See, this is you cannot leave aside. Automation will be there, AI will be there. So now everybody is supporting something like GitHub Copilot. So automation is already there. So how can you make it secure? What if the autopilot is a cracked malware, right? So you have to correct it. So Microsoft invented, so it's invention from Microsoft, as they said, Security Development Lifecycle, SDL, who not really sure, but yeah. So yeah, so that's everywhere, right? Made it bedrock principle of software trust and engineering. We will evolve it to dynamic SDL. That's a new word. That's probably first time that I'm hearing it. This means we are going to apply concept of continuous integration. That's a mouthful. Continuous integrate protection against emerging patterns as we, yeah, that's a good thing. That's a crazily valuable thing. Emerging patterns is what we have to capture. That's the only way to fight back, because if you're looking for specific things, smaller things, it won't work. That's my understanding of it. We will accelerate, automate threat modeling, deploy code QL, which is, I think it's all good. We must continue to enable customers with more secure defaults to ensure they have the best available protections that active out of the box. Okay, can't complain. And one example for the past secure defaults is a wide-scale multi-factor authentication. Yeah, and it's very hard to do. It's very hard to do multi-factor authentication, but they're trying to do it in their level best, so which is should be uploaded. We will be customer zero as we introduce this. Okay. Second, we will extend what we have already created in Identify, provide the unified and consistent way of managing and verifying the identities and access right of our users' devices. Yeah, they are very keen on access right, because that's the first point on security. AAA, authentication, authorization, and accounting. So they are working hard on the basics, which is great, which is, I think, great. To stay ahead of bad actors, we are moving to identity signing keys to integrated hazardous Azure HSM. Okay, that is hardware. Confidential computing infrastructure. In this architecture, signing keys are not only encrypted as rest and in transit, but also during computation process. That is like memory lockdown. Key rotation will also be automated, allowing, yeah, so this is, yeah, there can be a lot of critique on this, because it's very hard to say for someone to use hardware encryption, because it can be costly or it can be vendor based. So a lot of other critique would be there for some of this. Yeah, that's normal. Then a big company like Microsoft does something, it affects everyone in a very multitude of ways. Yeah, so there can be a lot of critique on that. Anyway, the point is, very quick point is that we all have to adjust for what the big software companies like Google, like Facebook, like Microsoft, especially operating system vendors, are doing, because it affects us. Apple, what Apple does, it affects us. What Android does, it affects us. What iOS does, it affects us. What Cisco ISO is doing, it affects us, right? So we have to be especially concerned about what they're trying to do. But overall, I think it's a good move. We need some new initiatives, because we cannot hold into always that old, technical literature of cybersecurity. There are a lot of other new things just had to be done. Right, then the hacker news, few news items. You can see the CI/CD pipeline should be changed, protecting, because this is where I think like automation happens, so it should be protected. I'm not go through details of it. You guys can read on that. And again, now these two got pretty interested items to me, because new campaign targets Middle East governments with Iron Wind malware. If you have never heard of it, you can go to MITRE and you can do some check on this. So you have some links as well, APTC23. So now see, these targeted attacks are getting very, very popular these days, and every day there seems to be one. Very recently, Australian one of the port companies had undergone a very specific thing like that. Still, the details are not available. And then again, Vietnamese hackers using new Delphi-powered malware to target Indian marketers. So see, supply chain is something pretty amazing that you understand. So going back to, I don't know, few hundred years back, right, everybody wanted find a new piece of land and new piece of ports, because the supply chain is basically running everything in the world, the new Silk Road to everything, right? Why Chinese people are, or Chinese government is spending a lot of money in Africa to create a pathway to the world. So similarly, now it seems like the government sponsored hackers are trying to work out the supply chain, right? So that is what the interesting item here, if you carefully look the socio-economics of the world. Right, I think we talked about a lot. So this will be a very regular set of episodes on cybersecurity news, and I will try my level best to this will go into more technical things and understanding some of the new malware and how it works, sort of architectural things as well. Similarly, some socio-economic things to understand how to set up your tool set, skill set to move into better cybersecurity careers. Thank you so much, and I would prefer if you subscribe and like the video. Thanks again.